But I know I'm finishing a little early, but if anyone has any questions or anything else, feel free to throw them out.
I have a question here. Do you have any specific numbers in terms of rework that increase of rework that you have to do for origination?
Yeah, I almost wish I had Appian before I had Appian, so I could quantify how bad we were. But we came with so many manual and paper-based processes. That was the big issue. We had so many silos. It was so disconnected. We couldn't get end-to-end metrics because we had multiple systems, multiple paper. We had no way to even tell how bad our existing processes were. But the path as we moved things into Appian were very telling because we had different paper-based forms that would, name something, one thing on this form, but then later in the process it was named something else. It was just a big realization for how bad your process is when you're actually moving it into Appian and the opportunities. But ultimately that gave us some great low-hanging fruit to cut down that rework. But just from off the top of my head, I would say on average, between additional questions where we're having to go back and ask the loan officer for more information that maybe wasn't captured on the front end because it wasn't locked down in a form or something like that, is a solid, at least 2 to 3 days of internal processing time. And those are holdups that, like I said on ordering the appraisal, it's another 2 to 3 day of internal processing time, which is very material, especially and directly related to the customer experience.
Brainstorming session and threw out the challenge question of why can't we do this whole process in one day? Do you think that as you mature and grow and learn what your bottlenecks are and find other ways that this tool can help you address them, something like that, I'm not saying you have to get exactly one day, but greatly reduce the time that would give you an incredible
And we actually discussed that a lot internally, and I think they talked about earlier this week about the magic wand exercise, that if you had that, if you could just wave it and say, here's what we'd want the process to look like. The downside to that is that if we look at just the regulatory timeframes and everything that we've got to deal with from a legal perspective, that's a really huge impediment that I wish my magic wand could change or alter, but it's not. But I think it is a great exercise, and what it's done is it's helped given us a roadmap, and it gives us the use case for Appian, where I told you earlier that we moved our existing process into Appian. So we kept a lot of the forms the same, a lot of the steps the same. Now what we've done after doing a magic wand type exercise is basically say, okay, here's where we want to go, and that without all the regulatory stuff, let's see how we can knock a mortgage out in a day. And then we can iteratively use Appian to start changing small bits of the process to get us to that point. And from a user adoption perspective, employee perspective, we're not doing earth-shattering process change. So they're not going to reject it because we updated this, now you have one form instead of 2. Or this integration piece is already happening and now that's seamless. So that's basically on our roadmap, is to just iterate so that we can get to the point where we're in effect have that 1 day turnaround time. Perfect. Thank you.